Hello, friends. Welcome back to Panel Chewing. We are on episode number 91. Each week we come with our stack of books. We come and we talk about them. And at the end, we have our pick of the week, our favorite book of the week. Sometimes we don't. And after that, we will be discussing the X-Men run, the Chris Claremont X-Men run. We've been reading that since issue 100. It is available on Hoopla and Libby for free. Just with your local library, you can get a library card. Access that digitally. And read along with us. We read about 2 issues a week, and we come and talk about it. And so if it's your first time here, welcome. And if you're returning, then thank you for coming back and listening to us ramble about nonsense. I'm here with Jarrod. Jarrod, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks.
Yeah, we talked before we started recording about, because we know that we had just finished this week. We'll finish the first volume that's available on Libby and Hoopla. And we think it would be kind of a bummer to not read through the Dark Phoenix saga. I believe it starts in issue 132-ish. So we're going to continue to read through the Dark Phoenix saga, and then we'll decide from there. For another book, maybe we'll mix it up and try something completely different or something else that's available to everyone for free to read along with us. So it's no cost to you. Just a few minutes to read a couple issues a week.
Yeah. Are we taking suggestions, Steve?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, any suggestions are welcome. I checked. There was a few. Originally I checked for, the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's been some other books that might be fun to go back and read, just to kind of revisit, or something new even that's available on Hoopla. Just that's free for anyone else to read along with us.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So no topic this week because we are woefully unprepared and because we have a list of quite a few books to discuss this week. So I believe we'll just go ahead and jump into it. So the first one on my list is the Absolute Green Lantern, number 3. Now, I really love the art by, I'm going to butcher this name, Jahone Lindsay. I love the art. But it's sometimes I wonder if it's the right fit for this book. This book is it leans on the darker side, on the more sinister side. And I wonder if it's the right fit. And we've seen that a few times. Well, I mean, sure, we've all as comic book creators have seen that a few times. When the artwork just doesn't quite fit the story. It's not bad artwork, but it's sometimes just not the right fit. But in this one, our characters are trying to find a way out of their predicament and escape. And they discover some new tactics and some new clues on what they can do to escape. And this book so far has been a pleasant surprise. I do like that they're leaning more into horror and taking it, they are twisting things around enough to make it feel like an Elseworld story. But this issue was a little slow. And it's kind of to be expected with a number 3. I think, you have your first issue that comes out of the gates to hook you. And then number 2's, it's a little bit less, but usually number 3 or 4 is usually when we start to kind of settle in and be more story focused and start to establish some things. So, I kind of expected, but so far it's been fun. I do like how different it is, and that's one of the major complaints I've heard about this book from the reviews I've seen is that it's so different. So I think that's kind of the point. So for me anyway.
Yeah. You would hope that's the point with these Absolute books.
Yeah, I mean, go crazy, right?
Yeah. Cool. So this week I picked up the 6th Gun, Road to the 6th, number 0. I guess they used to refer to number 0s as origin issues or something like that back in the day. And this is kind of along those lines. The original run of the 6th Gun, I think, was back in 2000 somewhere. And I kind of forgot about it, actually. I forgot, I read it back then. I thought it was pretty cool. And I like the idea of all these 6 guns, these being weapons that when you bring them together, they're really powerful and can create kind of an apocalypse or something like that. It's kind of the premise, and everybody's out to get him. And so this is an origin issue that the original team is back, Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt, and they kind of have these three little short stories in here that kind of relate to, I assume, what is going to be the main series coming up in July. And I thought it was pretty cool. I I I always was a little hesitant picking it up because the art style is a little bit cartoonish in that in a Western setting. Um, but once you get into it and you start reading it, it just flows along nice, and you kind of forget about that aspect of it, and you kind of just get into it. And I just forgot how cool the setting was, and the story is pretty neat. I like how they presented it here. This is going to be it's called Road to the Six, so I'm imagining it's going to be the origins of these six guns that we're gonna find out about. And so I hope I will continue on with this because I want to see what they do. Because the three different stories they presented in here just give you little snapshots and like they're little teasers of stuff, and they really did the job. They teased me to want me to get to know more about what they're gonna do about the origin of these weapons, and so it was pretty cool.
Mission accomplished. Then it's tough
Yeah.
to get somebody hooked. So you don't see too many zero issues anymore.
No, yeah, the fad seemed to have gone away, but yeah, somebody had to bring it back, I guess.
Yeah. The next one for me was almost my pick. It is a book I've been raving about. Well, I've been saying it's the best horror book on the shelves for a while, and that is Into the Unbeing. This is part two, issue 4. While there's part 1 and part 2, I'm not sure. Anyway, so our group of scientists, they find this formation. They're trying to find clues about this formation. They end up going inside. It's kind of like The Descent mixed in with some other kind of, it's like a more horror, more kind of body horror version of the Descent.
Hmm.
And it's been a descent. Speaking of the descent, it's been a descent into madness from the very beginning. It's been just gotten worse and worse and worse. And our characters have found clues from other people that have been stuck here, that have left notes behind, that they find these other creatures. They start to feel themselves slipping. And it's been kind of just this really just, I mean, things go from bad to worse every issue, and you just feel like it can't get much worse, and then it does. And the panels, the layouts, the full page spreads, the the shapes, and I mean, it's just the artwork is it really does make you feel like you're dizzy, like it's this, like overwhelming sense of I'm really lost, like this, something is very wrong here, I have to get out but can't. So it's just been a great book. I think this may be the end. I couldn't find if this is the last issue.
Oh,
If it is the last issue, then I'm pretty happy with the entire run. And I think it ends. I don't know if I'm completely satisfied, but I don't think that was the point. So, so yeah, it's like I said, it's been. I want to say it's been fun to read. It's been horrific. It's parts very horrific and very weird and very like off the wall, strange, but it's yeah, if you're looking for something just off this horrible, this kind of science fiction horror blend, check this book out. I think you'd enjoy it, and I hope it comes back for more, but I think this may be the last issue. I hope not, but it looks like it may be. So
very cool.
yeah.
All right, next up I got Imperial #1 from Marvel Comics. This is Marvel's space superheroes type of deal. So it's like a one of those event books. and I was very hesitant to get this. But I saw it was written by Jonathan Hickman, whose stuff I have liked in the past. Um, I I've much preferred his independent stuff in the past than his other some of his other big company work. But he's even his big company stuff has been pretty cool sometimes. So I took a chance on it, and I picked it up. And at first, I was like, "What am I getting into here?" Because if you haven't been paying attention to the Marvel Universe, like I haven't for the past few years, you're kind of thrown into the middle of some things here.
Hmm.
And I didn't know exactly what was going on right away. But then things start to come into focus as we're um, as we're brought into this story. There's a big basically a big gathering going on about with all the empires in the Marvel universe getting together to discuss things, and so that kind of brings everything into focus. And what was cool is the Hulk is one of the main characters,
Hmm.
and this is because of his association with Planet Hulk, that series that was written way back when that I enjoyed a lot. I actually have Planet Hulk that Greg Pak wrote, and so that led into World War Hulk, and I really like the Hulk character in that series, and he's kind of back here. He's Bruce Banner, the Hulk, is traveling to this conference because of that planet that he's now I guess he was now the king of or whatever, the
Hmm.
warlord or the ruler of some sort, and so he's involved in this, and the whole reason all these people are getting together is because somebody is poisoning their rulers, and so then it moves on from there.
Hmm.
Um, so it was pretty neat actually. They have there's mentions of Star Lord in here, Peter Quill from the Guardians of the Galaxy. He makes an appearance, and the Nova character makes
Hmm.
an appearance. Apparently, their planet got blown up sometime in the past. I didn't know that, but so this guy's like the last surviving Nova or something like that. But you get the gist as you read along, and they had the Skrull empires and the Kree and all the Shire, all the familiar ones. Our buddy Gladiator made an appearance here, and so um, it was it was interesting, and there's a little surprise appearance at the end too. So it was it's a $7 book,
Yeesh.
but it is 50 pages. So at least you're getting the page count, um, out of it. So yeah, the issues with it are is you could get lost.
Yeah.
In some of the characters you might not know, and especially if you're not that familiar with the Marvel universe, you will be lost if you're not familiar at all. I'm familiar somewhat with some of the space stuff, but so I was able to get something out of it.
Hmm.
So it was interesting. I am trepidatious about future issues because we all know how these big event things go, and they usually kind of peter out.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on it.
I saw Hickman's name on that one, and then I kind of read up on what it was about and thought I don't really know all the different cosmic Marvel stuff. I know a little bit more of the DC stuff. I think that's why the New Gods has been a fun read for me. But
Yeah.
the I don't know that I know enough to really that I would really follow as much as I like Hickman. I don't know if it'd be enough for me to, but maybe I'll grab it.
Yeah. It's a tough sell.
Yeah.
But it ends up being a mystery of who's doing the crime,
Hmm.
and so if you look at it that way, you might be able to get into it.
So the next one for me is Buried Long, Long Ago, number 2 by Mad Cave Studios. This is the second issue, really good. It's built on the story. It introduces us to new characters that I'm sure will come into play later. And this book is really gruesome. It went way above what I was expecting it to go. Very gory, violent, and it just bloody, and it's just a fun horror book. The art by Alex Cormack is perfect for the story. It's dark, detailed, haunting, and beautiful. It is just the right amount of detail. It really all the colors are also perfect. All the blood, all the dark shadows, all the character silhouettes, their facial expressions. It's just perfectly done for this story, and definitely emotions too. You can read the emotions on the characters' faces because of the artwork, and you don't have to have any dialogue or anything to go with it. You just know because everything is so on point with the art. So yeah, another one that was really, in the conversation for me in my own head, we pick. But yeah, really good issue. I'm very happy where this book is going, and the mother is becoming more and more of a writing character. I'll just say that.
Nice. Yeah. To move into my own internal debate about pick of the week. Next, I have Solomon Kane, number 3. This continues to be a solid series, written and drawn by Patrick Zurcher, and the artwork continues to amaze me with how well it's done, and the story is just moving along. This is a 4-issue miniseries, and the story moved along perfectly for where you would expect the story to be at issue number 3, yet still keeping you in suspense and keeping you wondering. There's a whole cast of characters here, so you're wondering who's gonna make it out, who's gonna survive, who's gonna betray who, and you get all the drama in there about with the characterizations in here, and wondering how it's all gonna turn out. And he just upped the level of the story. He upped the tension, and it looks like it's leading to a what could be a very satisfying conclusion next issue, unless something really gets screwed up. But I am just enjoying the heck out of this book. This is one of my favorite Solomon Kane books I've ever read. Because he wasn't my favorite Howard character, Robert Howard, and I think what Zurcher did with this character in this particular story has been nothing short of amazing. And I don't know if it's just a presentation was better than some of the other ones in the past, but whatever it is, it really works, and was quite near my pick of the week this week.
Nice. And so, I guess I shouldn't ask who your favorite character is, because you said Solomon Kane isn't your favorite, but probably guess who your favorite
for
is.
Robert Howard, yeah. It's Conan. That's yeah, takes the cake.
So the next one for me is Minor Arcana number 7 by Boom Studios. And I'll admit I was worried about the new artist coming in, who was Letizia Cardonic. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. But the book is so well. I love the art, and by the end of the book, I was hoping that it isn't just a one-off. I hope that this artist stays on for longer. As much as I love Lemire's art, and I think when somebody's writing and drawing a book, there's a certain magic that comes with that. I don't think the book skipped a beat with the new artist. I think it had the same kind of very close and personal character focus. You still feel like you're in the conversations with these people. You still feel like you're kind of listening in on conversations that you're not supposed to be. You're very intimate and close. All the same, the style remained the same. The art was a little bit different. I think it was close enough to know it's a new artist, but not so dramatically different that it throws you off. So I think it was it was a perfect artist to take over art if that was the goal, to kind of maybe ease the load on Lemire. But yeah, I'm already attached to the new artist. Uh, Beyond that, there was a talk between our character and Officer Brad, which was as awkward as you would expect it to be, considering the circumstance. It was a little, it, it was awkward, but in a real life kind of way, like it would be an awkward anyway. And there's some new elements introduced here. There's a few new elements and a few new characters, but two elements in particular that are going to could fundamentally change this book and the direction it goes. It seems like it really opened up, and the world just got a lot bigger, and the story got a lot more complicated than before. And I think it was the right time. If you were going to do this, I think it's the right time to do that now that you've already established the town and the people in it, the relationships, the past relationships, and now is the time to kind of expand. So yeah, very well done.
Yeah, that's I agree. It the artwork. I wonder how Lemire went about finding this artist to fill in or keep going for him. Because, like you said, the change wasn't jarring at all. It was smooth. It was relatable and nicely done.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was. I'm guessing in the script or in the notes, it kind of, the writer, kind of explains what the panels look like. So
Yeah,
it because all the different panels look the same. The close-ups, the facial expressions, all that was the same. So it really kept the same style too. All of it was very seamless. So very well done.
yeah, very good. Well, next up, we both have Absolute Superman, number 8. And if you would have asked me a year ago if I would be reading an issue number 8 of a Superman comic, I would have told you were crazy.
Yeah.
But here I am, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's pretty good stuff. This one was a bit more action oriented type, um, a bit more, a little bit less introspective than some of the past issues of this run has been. There's a lot more, grandstanding superhero-y stuff going on, I guess,
Yeah.
with the fights and what have you, and the two factions fighting over him and what have you, and so it was a bit more in line with your typical superhero stuff, but it's still within the confines of this story that Aaron has set up.
Mm.
It was a natural progression from of how things have been going. Um, I I kind of missed that. Like last issue, I thought was really cool with the whole Brainiac thing, but
Mm.
I kind of missed that. We got a little bit of look into Ra's al Ghul in the beginning, but most of the issue was just a battle. Um, so I'm hoping we're gonna get back to some more of that different feel that we've been getting from this series all along. Um, but it didn't force me away from the book. I'm still invested. I still want to see what happens next. The developments in here were still interesting um, to a certain point, especially with his side characters there and finding out how they're gonna proceed from here and stuff. So it was cool. I liked it. I don't know what you thought, Steve.
What were your thoughts on Ma and Pa Kent?
Oh, that was oh shoot. Oh,
You shouldn't recognize him, and sounds like
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, one of them's kind of not looking good, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think about it that much, really. To be honest with you.
I think there wasn't a whole lot of time devoted to it, but I think it
No,
was a nice change up from the mainline Superman book to make it to where they, it seems like he has a little bit of disconnect from them, and maybe that's because uh,
that's right.
the Alzheimer's and she's forgetting who he is, and
That's right.
so yeah, I
Yeah,
think it almost isolates him more, and it makes his anger issues kind of it. He feels isolated because he really has nothing. He just has
that's
no
right.
even
Yeah,
then because in mainland Superman, he has Mom and Pa Kent to kind of go to for guidance, and he has them that kind of bond with them. But it doesn't seem like he has that in this book. He doesn't have that connection.
yeah. That's a good point. He and in this series, he was already grown when they got him. It wasn't like the baby situation. So that that also because he already knows he's an
Mm.
alien when they take him in. So that also would have that difference in disconnection and stuff like that. It wouldn't give him the same uh, security blanket to fall back on, I guess,
Yeah,
like he does in the regular Superman books. Yeah, that's a good point, and leads to yeah, could lead to um, other things,
right.
reactions and stuff.
And I thought the introduction to Kryptonite I thought that was pretty neat. That he had no idea that it was coming, and so that's the way that it was introduced was interesting. That was a good choice. I think my biggest the reason that this one wasn't really a pick of the week contender for me was the banter between Lois Lane and Agent Alpha
Mm.
was just kind of annoying. It's just the back
Yeah,
and forth they had was just okay. Like let's
that's
come on with it.
yeah,
Some of that was a little annoying. I still love the art though. I think
yeah.
the art
It's
and the
good art.
colors are fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it's
It's
good
really good
stuff.
stuff. And
Yeah,
I do love the cape, the system that helps Superman and the different abilities it has, and it really adds another element to the character that can get a little stale. I think for most people after a while.
yeah, yeah. I like that too. Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, I mean that's when I say the typical comic book stuff. That's the dialogue that
Yeah,
you know you see in all the books, and but
yeah. But and then the beginning, the Ra's al Ghul, uh, that was for a Superman book. I thought it was pretty gruesome.
yeah, it's interesting because we all know him as a Batman villain in the main
Yeah,
universe, um, but it makes sense here.
that's what these books are for. They're to do wild
Yep,
things with them. They're to mix things up and do different things.
yep.
Yeah. So bravo to that team on Absolute Superman. It's you if you'd have asked me too if my favorite Absolute book would have been Absolute Superman, I thought you were crazy. I thought for sure to be Absolute Batman, but yeah, uh, by far it's Absolute Superman. So all right, so one more or two more for me before we get to our picks. There's the book I read. You'll Do Bad Things. I read the first issue a little over a month ago. I fell behind, and then I grabbed issue 2 and 3 because I was pretty sure I'd enjoy it. So the setup here is and you've slowly learned this over the 3 issues. There's a writer who wrote a true crime novel, which led to an arrest of a murderer. But it turns out that may not actually be the person who's responsible. The victim's family is angry with the author for the things that he wrote in the book. They're convinced that the real killer is still out there. Meanwhile, there's somebody or something hunting this author or not, and he may or may not be responsible for other things happening in the world. I'm not even sure what's going on here. I was really trying to follow along. I don't understand it. I don't really know what's going. I don't get it. and I want to be intrigued by it because it sounds crazy and it sounds like it would work. Like it sounds like an intriguing story because you want to unravel what's happening. But just I think the way that it's being told, it's just not grabbing me. It's just not um, pulling me in. It's more just kind of, instead of a reveal being like, oh wow, it's more like, what? What? So not really the reaction you want when you're reading something that unravels like this. But I don't think I'll keep up with this one. I'll maybe just, check in from time to time on reviews and things and see how things are going, but not sure it's for me, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
I think that's
All
the
right.
only bad book this week, though. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's not a bad record.
yeah, I think it kind of stung a little bit more because I bought two of them,
Ah,
and it just got worse. I was like, damn it, I should have gotten one. But anyway, that is what it is.
cool. All right, on to the pick of the week.
Pick of the week time.
Yeah. Ooh.
Calm down.
I got from our friends at Distillery Comics. I have the Blood Brothers Mother #2, and I have to say I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I thought #1, like we talked about last week, I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it, but for some reason, this issue stood out to me as up in the game for the creativity of the book. I really loved Rizzo's colors in this book. I thought his colors were outstanding. Um, they just really popped. I thought uh, the the story, these three boys who are on their own, going through this on this journey, I thought was just so well laid out. And I'm just saying the artwork and the artwork in this book is the star for this issue in particular. Um, Everything that he drew in this issue, I thought it was just his artwork just seemed to be the pop. It seemed to show things in a very beautiful style that was very clear to me because that was one of the complaints I had about his artwork in 100 Bullets.
Hmm.
Sometimes I thought stuff was muddy and I couldn't tell who was who and what was going on. But I don't know if he's just gotten way better or if the or if him being in charge of his own coloring and maybe his own inking maybe brought this book particular enhanced his artwork and just made it that much better because I really, really enjoyed the artwork in this book, and that's what really put it over the top for me to make it the pick of the week for me. And one of the things I did like about the story was I liked how Azzarello is not treating these kids like a bunch of dummies. Um, like stupid kids. These kids they have they have real motive and they have real concerns, and he's not writing them like adults either. They still have a kid point of view, but their concerns and their motives just seem so realistic and for what they've been through. And I love how they are asking all the hard philosophical questions while the adults just seem to accept things as they are. And I love that contrast in the narrative of what's going on here. And that was
Hmm.
really what put the book over for me. I just love how it was all put together. And the plot thickens towards the end of the book as well, so that helped for to be into participation for the next issue.
Yeah, I think it was this book. I think the 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 West, or the Old West, I guess, is a character in itself. I think with this in
Sure.
this book, and it's the backdrop is it's a very imposing or oppressive kind of feeling to it. Like everything is dangerous and that's behind every corner could be disaster. And the like I said, the kids, they're not dummies, but they are learning, and
Yeah.
while they're unprepared for what the journey that they embark on, they do learn as they go. So from the other people who are trying to take advantage of them or trying to befriend them and kind of get on the good side and then taking advantage of them. So and then I do like what we learned about the mother and the pastor from issue one. And the only complaint I had about this one, and let me know if this was a problem for you too. There's some handwritten notes on the pages sometimes, like a cursive on the page, and some of it was hard to read. And I wish they would have put a box, like a box around it with like with solid color behind it, just to let the text stand out more. Because sometimes it was a little hard to read, but that's the only downside I had with that one.
Yeah. It seemed like they were worried about interrupting the artwork at times,
Mhm.
but it actually made it hard to read some of that handwriting. I was actually zooming in
Yeah,
on my screen for those parts, but what I had the option of doing that was
yeah,
reading it on a screen. But yeah,
yeah. I was
no,
zooming
I
in too.
agree with you there. But yeah, but and the thing is, Azzarello can get a little heavy-handed with the violence in a lot of his stories. Um, Over the top a lot. So I was very appreciative of this more subtle touches he had in this issue, and so it just really worked for me. I really liked it.
Mhm. Yeah, really good issue. So my pick this week, I had gone back and forth, and I think it was the very last minute before we hit record that I decided I just keep coming back to this one. And my pick of the week is the Terminator #8. This is by Dynamite Studios, and not because it's this big deep story or because it's this earth shattering thing, or it's not like a sort of crisis events type of read. It's not that type of book. But the POV in this issue is from Skynet, and the issues before all the different targets that we've gone through, we start to kind of get an idea of what the bigger mission is here for Skynet, and you learn. We start to figure out how all the stories are connected, the ramifications of each mission, whether it was a failure or a success, and it starts to learn from each mission. Skynet learns and becomes better. How Skynet deals with problems or problems with the Terminators that it creates. If there's if the Terminators malfunction or how they handle it. It almost seems like Skynet's a character in this book, and you're behind the screen watching kind of the wheels turn and how Skynet operates, how it learns, and what what its mindset is, or what its programming is, or how it handles things, and how it becomes more deadly, and how it decides to eliminate people based on their lineage and their family trees, and it tries to eliminate certain people by eliminating people in your family tree to prevent you from being born.
Damn.
So all of it is really neat. I thought it was really cool. Like I said, it wasn't packed with dialogue. It wasn't full of it wasn't this big grand story. It just the way that it was done, I thought was really creative and really different, and I dig that. So this series started out focusing more on the people who were being hunted, the people who were being set for termination. Having that personal touch, I think, gave the franchise give the franchise a kind of a different perspective, and it needed that perspective to not focus on the Terminator, but instead focus on the people, give it a more personal touch. And now, as we've gotten through I'm guessing the first arc, it's switching around a little bit to now focus on the other side of it, but not focus on the Terminator, the robots or the androids or whatever, but more of the system behind it and what's really turning the wheels on everything. So yeah, it was just a fun book. There's some pages that don't have any dialogue that just show you, they're just screens of past events. But I thought it was really neat. It was just fun to go back and relive some of the classic scenes from the movies with the text and the all the different the ways that Skynet operates. So yeah, the Terminator number 8 was my pick.
Cool. Actually sounds pretty neat. Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This series is better than I thought it'd be. I thought it was going to be more of a gimmick.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I usually don't enjoy kind of the franchise, books like this, like the Alien books are crap. So I didn't have very high hopes, but it's turned out a lot better than I expected.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you joining us for the read along, we're on Uncanny X-Men number 109 and number 110 today, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And what was this? 109. Okay, so we get
108 and
introduced.
109, right? Or was it 108?
109, 110, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And 109 kind of was like a downtime, like a everybody's kind of settling back from the big space adventure, and they're kind of relaxing a little bit. And it was interesting that because we like these issues have been always going from one crisis event to the next, right?
Yeah.
And it was interesting just seeing them kind of like, oh, I got to tell my parents, and and some like quiet moments, I guess. And they mentioned Havoc and Polaris were freed from Eric's the Red's control, but they just mention it. Like it happened off screen sometime
Yeah.
in the past that we didn't ever see,
That's like an odd, yeah.
And and finally, of course, towards the end, we get boom, Alpha Flight appears, and they're in town to take Wolverine, who they refer to as Weapon X. So that that whole thing is starting to come to fruition as well. That Weapon X thing is going to be around for
Wow.
next 30 years or so,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that was an idea that Claremont came up with, that stuck.
Oh, it definitely stuck. And like you mentioned, the downtime issue. I think that's we've talked about this before. About the difference between Marvel and DC is that Marvel, I think DC characters are meant to be like gods, and they're these all powerful beings, and the Marvel characters seem that they're more grounded, like they're just like you. They're just regular people who have these abilities, who are just normal, do normal things like play baseball and go to the mall for Christmas, and lounge around and study. So yeah, it was I think we almost needed a down issue after that big cosmic battle.
Yeah. Yep. Right. And excellent artwork again by John Byrne.
Oh, beautiful artwork.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Interestingly enough, issue number 110 had art by Tony De Zuniga. I forget how you say that, but so I probably screwed that up. But and I guess he was a fill-in artist because I know Byrne's gonna be back. But he was actually a fill-in artist a lot on Conan the Barbarian.
Oh,
That's
really?
where I knew his name from. So yeah, he did a neat job. It was weird seeing his artwork in the X-Men comic, to be honest with you. But after seeing his artwork in Conan after all these years, but and we get a little more mystery. About just some relationship stuff between, so that so you get hints of the past between Professor X and Moira Taggart, and you get Wolverine, thinking maybe I should let Scott die,
He's such a dick, isn't he? He's just he's like this. It's kind of like this turkey outfit, and just very honoring.
Yeah. 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 And who knows about the X-Men? There's a little mystery that somebody knows about them.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the Danger Room stuff. I don't know. It just seems like a way for them to bond and a way for them to. I think in a way to show that they're training and they're learning how to fight together. I think that kind of adds more of the group dynamic, and it adds another layer of that to the story where you can see them training for all these things instead of them just being able to do it together.
Right. Yeah.
I've always kind of enjoyed the Danger Room. I think that's a fun. I don't say break because it is a Danger Room, but it's a nice kind of mix up from the usual thing.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, interesting stuff. And it's kind of I'm definitely looking forward to where the stories are going. Of course, we're always talking about the Dark Phoenix saga and the hints that we constantly get from Jean now about how she doesn't quite feel herself and she's a little drunk on power here and there. And those things are but they're just little hints so far here and there. And so we as being a reread, we kind of know where it's going. So it, it those things stand out more, I think,
Yeah.
than they would normally, because we're just really, I think we're kind of hyper focused on it. And
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fun seeing those little nuggets here and there that you probably wouldn't notice. I don't think I probably noticed the first time I read it, but seeing the slow march to that point, the little clues and little details that are dropped in along the way, I think is really fun to see.
yeah, it makes you wonder at the level of patience that
Oh yeah.
editors and writers had back then, because I would think that if somebody pitching a story to Marvel today would have to have a beginning, middle, end that had a payoff fairly quickly with the attention
Oh,
span of people nowadays,
oh yeah.
that I don't think Claremont could get away with that today. What he did back then.
No, if you would have gone and said, I have a 40 issue plan, I don't think that exists anymore. Even the great, more popular writers, I don't know that they have that much runway just to plan ahead that far to guarantee that you'll be writing this book in 50 issues. In how many years? I don't know that exists anymore. I don't like the Scott Snyders and the he was writing Batman, but you don't really know how long they'll be in a book.
Yeah.
So it's really it's sad because you'd like to see more of that, but then I guess the business is changing.
Yeah. And even Scott Snyder, even though he's been with DC for a very long time now, and he's planned a lot of stuff, he still seems to be writing for the trade to have that wrap up in the 6 issues that it goes or whatever. And it's not, Claremont wasn't doing that. Claremont was writing for the monthly and planting seeds for a long-term run.
Yeah.
Like, you're hired for this book, and this is what you're going to be doing. And he took the reins, and he went full out with all these little things that he wanted to do. And some of it, like 110 seemed a little bit fill-in-ish here and there, and so some of it is some of that. But still, there's still little things, even in that fill-in, that quote fill-in issue, that was still planted for future stuff. And you could say that maybe some of the stuff that he plants we're not seeing right now because we're overlooking it because we're looking for the stuff we know about,
Yeah,
and that some of that stuff maybe never came to fruition at all.
that's true.
So you might be able to say that, and that it might have been wasted s- space or whatever. But overall, though, it's quite amazing what he did.
Yeah, it is really amazing what he did.
Yeah,
Really, it's unprecedented. I don't know if we'll ever see it again.
yeah,
Not anytime soon, anyway.
no,
And I believe that wraps up this volume, right? So the other volume is available on Hoopla. So be sure and check it out if you haven't already, from Libby or Hoopla. Continue the march to the Dark Phoenix Saga.
awesome, very
All
good.
right. Anything else you can think of?
No, I think we got it covered.
All right. So, yeah, Jared, where can people find you?
I can find me at the Fantasy Thinker YouTube channel, and you can find me on the Page Chewing forums and on Speculative Speculation podcasts and some other fine podcasts there as well.
Come by and say hello. If you'd like to recommend the next book that we should read on Hoopla or Libby, or just tell us how wrong we are about something, there's a link down below in the description. You send us a message directly, or you can come by and join our forums and say hello there. We have a tightly knit small group, and we talk movies, music, books, comics, nonsense. Come by and say hello and join our little group. So until next time, we hope you have a fantastic day, and we hope that you find your pick of the week.
Bye bye.